Hello everyone, welcome to iTeLearn. And what we're trying to do today is primarily get an understanding of how to get an offer letter during a QA interview. That's what we mean to say, team. So by this time you should know if this is relevant to you or not. So if you're someone in the IT industry, especially in the QA area, software testing part of it, this session is to talk about how to get an offer letter during a QA interview. It will also be a good guide for other streams, but we are trying to focus more on QA. 80% of it could be very common to any technology. So now let's step back, team. What is it? What is an interview? What is the offer letter? Do we know the difference? Let's start with that. I want the audience to help me give answers. What is the difference between an interview and an offer letter? And then maybe we'll talk about a few more things around it. What is an interview? Everyone, give me a few ideas. What is an interview and what is an offer letter? Interview is to test the ability. Well said. Thank you. So that is to test the ability. Come on. Of whom? To test our ability. Correct? Can we say that? And then it is all about asking questions. And that's about it. Or answering questions. That's what an interview is all about, attending. Then there is an interviewer and there's an interviewee. Is that correct? Viewee? I don't know. How to get an offer letter during a QA interview? So does it in any way say that it is about an interviewer or the one who's getting interviewed? So it is interviewee. So that's what we are all about, right? Okay. Now what is an offer letter? Looking your suitable testing skills and ability. Offer letter is confirmation of job in hand. Wow. What happens after the offer letter, team? Let's be very positive. Let's talk positive stuff. Let's look at what happens after the offer letter. You start work. Perfect. So that's the next stage. So the different stages. Interview and offer letter. So finally, you want to start work. Is that correct, everyone? Now let's look at it in a different perspective. The same thing. Okay, let's use a Google slide. So we're talking about interview, getting an offer letter. Fair enough, everyone? This is what we'll focus on. Let's delete this. I don't need this. I don't need speaker notes. Let's add a new slide. I don't need this. I don't need this. Now, let us assume that what you said, start working, okay, is the ultimate goal. Okay. Start work. Make sense? Is this what we all are looking for, most of us? Now, before we get there, I would like to know actually how many people are really in that zone. This is you. All right. Let's not give any color. Yep. Cool. So there is a long stretch the way I look at from you to your starting to work. Is that agreeable that there's going to be a long stretch, or it's not really that long stretch? Come on, what's wrong with this? It's not letting me take it anywhere. Okay, so you know this. Now let me see your response, LCT. We are talking about something just before this. What is it that we're talking about just before this? Is an interview. Fair enough? And before interview, what comes, everyone? Just before interview. I don't even know from the audience where you are. Are you already working or are you outside? We don't know. But what comes before interview? Actually, that's right. I think preparation comes. And before preparation, what comes? Like interview is right before going in, couple of days. You're getting prepared. What happens before preparation, team? Dedication, expertise in the field, float resume, apply for job. See, this is an amazing dedication study and all that. Yeah, let's break it down further. Why am I preparing for an interview? Let me ask you this. All I'm trying to do is get a total clarity of this process for the 10-15 minutes, and then we'll put something that will help us. Why are we preparing for an interview? Why are you preparing? You want to start working, you got into interview, you were preparing for it. Before that, why did you get into an interview? To get a job, get some money, I agree, that's there. Why did you reach here? Because you got called. You got called. Why? Because you seem to be matching the criteria. Now, who called you? Someone from the client? HR, client, right? Now, how did they get to know you, team? How did they know that you're there? Wow, there's so many steps I didn't realize. You have applied for it, right? And then to apply, you created what we call as resume. So that's cool, right? We just have a very little gap now between you and your resume. So easy. You are there, your resume is there, your job is there. Don't you think so, team? Is there anything more that comes between you and the resume? There is. What will come, team? I think what basically comes is called skill. I'll just call it as skill. Skill is experience, training, everything. Okay, that's skill. Now that comes first. Now 1 second, I'm trying this out. And then because of what you developed, we will look at this. Fair enough? Now, how many of you, I think most of you already know that for this we have our iTeLearn. So we don't have to talk much about that. We always talk about our training. Now let's talk about from a resume to this. How you build a resume, I don't think this is the topic, team. We're just talking about one specific thing. From interview, is there anything else in between to start working? What is stopping us? Oops. What comes here, team? Let's say all these are connected. Convincing the interview that you're the best. Yes, it's all about. There's only one thing waiting, team, between an interview and start work. What is it? Offer letter. Fair enough. Is this the agreeable process? Everyone? Is this an agreeable process from you for us to start working? This is how we're going. Correct? Now, which one would you choose? We have from you to start work directly. Correct? And then you have from resume, you applied for a role, the HR or client contacted you, and you got called for an interview, you prepared for it, and you got interview, you got the offer letter, you started work. Isn't it easy? Now, is it okay if I ask the audience, where are we? Either you already have, so tell me where you are in your career. You have these options. I'm going to create a poll that will be easy for us to do that. I'm going to launch this quickly, team. This will be on your screen at any given time. Can you all see this? So team, right now on your screen, you'll be able to see the results of the poll. I don't know how many of you expected it to be this way. But you know, it says it all that only 2% of you have offer letters, and that is phenomenal. For those of you who have offer letters, the remaining 98% of us, including me, we would like to hear a short story. Looking at the audience, there's only one person who's got an offer letter right now. 50% of you are getting ready. 11% of you are somewhere in preparing the resume. 22% of you are getting towards an interview or in the process of being selected. 2% have received offer letters, and 15% of you are working. That's a phenomenal statistic, team. That's a phenomenal statistic because it basically says how much or how far away we are. Now, for those of you who are getting ready, focus on it. Without a good resume, there is nothing that will happen. Is that agreeable that we need a great resume? Yes or no? How many of you have ever paid for external consultant to look at your resume? Maybe a couple of $100, maybe $50. I think we should find that. And this thought, I didn't get it before this, team. I think resume is key. You need to really focus on this a lot. We don't have a good resume. We are very far away from what we want to accomplish. We're very far away. So you need to have a great resume. That's the first and foremost thing. I am not focusing this session on skill development. If any of you are new to this session for the first time, please kindly go to iTeLearn.com, contact us, we will guide you. But for all our members who are already doing this, I want to talk about what's next. Right from resume all the way to starting work. How do we apply, get in the HR, get called, prepare, interview, offer letter? I think most of what we will discuss you will be aware in. There will be nothing new in it. So let's talk a little bit about resume. What do we do about it? Okay, so very far ahead is a resume. Okay, this is a huge topic, team. Huge topic. Very highly debatable. What should be there in resume? What should not be there? And so on. What is a resume, team? Let's think about it for 30 seconds. What is a resume? Let's put it in a word or a phrase that everyone can understand. What is a resume? It's like a summary of my professional career. Can I say that? It's a summary of my professional career. is there a human at this end? Okay, let's do this. In this slide, team, is there a human at this end? Start work. Is there any human involved between offer interview and starting work? Of course, right? This is not a machine. It's never an automated thing, correct? Is there always a human involved, team? Right? So that's a great understanding that we have. So, which means shapes. Is there a human shape? Okay. There's a smile icon. Okay, there is a human. All right. There, who's there between the interview and the offer letter. Yes? Is that agreeable? Everyone? So, who is looking at the resume? There is someone at the client side. There is someone screening it between. What are they applying for? Resume is summary of a professional career, right? Now we talk about apply. Where do we apply? How do we find to apply? Is the other thing, right? Find a suitable job opening. Is that a right way of summarizing the application for a job role, team? Find a suitable job opening. We will use different job portals or our network or our spouse to take assistance in that. Yes, but that is how we will apply. We'll find a suitable job opening. It could be job boards, references, or consulting company. Now let's talk about these three for a second. Let us assume that you have a good resume. Let us assume. Now, do you think job boards is critical? Many job boards, we're talking about things like Dice, Monster, Career Builder. What else is there? Indeed, LinkedIn. Yeah, all this, right? We're aware of it. I don't need to write them. QA on air, thank you, Nilima. Glassdoor. QA on air is still very, very far away. But we at least have it listed, so it'll come up very soon. I would actually not be surprised if this is our kind of stepping stone to QA on it. But we'll look at it later. Let's tackle the getting an offer letter challenge. Job boards. What is the advantage for a job board to find you a job? Did anyone ever think about it? Why should they find you a job? The Glassdoor of the world, or Indeed, or LinkedIn, all of this. Why should they get you a job? Why, team? Do they make money out of it? How do they make money? Did they ever charge you? They charge the client for putting the job posting. So if I'm a company, I want to release, I charge the client for it. Nothing is free, team. Always remember this. There's no concept called free. There's always investment, and the biggest investment is time. References, what is in it for them that they will help you apply for a job that they know? What are references, team? They get bonus, maybe. They get maybe referral fee, referral bonus, right? And maybe you're making them happy and they're happy to help you. Good, right? Great. How about a consulting company? They're also about money. Any company always starts with money. Finance is the main ruling factor for any company. What we fail to understand is we get lost about ignoring people, and that's why companies fail. But money is the biggest driving factor. It is the measurement for success when it comes to a company. Now consulting, do they charge the client? Do they charge you? Yes? Okay, great. So when you apply for a job, what is it that you look for, team? What is it that we look for when we apply for a job? First thing, what do we look at? Requirements, salary, location, everything, correct? There's something we look at in between. Skill, match, everything. What is it called? What is that called? What do we look for before we apply? Requirement. There's something called, there's a word for it. Job description. What we also call as JD. Alright. A JD is the one which will help us give a lot of clarity on what we want to do, team. So a resume is great, but it is always applied against a JD. So you see the job requirement in the various job boards, which is nothing but the job description, and then you apply for it. The reason I'm breaking this down, team, because a lot of times we just look at interview and start work, we miss everything in between. Once we know this very clearly, it's pretty much straightforward. Now you have applied, okay? Job boards, references, consulting. Job description, what will it have? Let's talk about it. Location, skill, client, industry, okay, project details. It will also have a pay rate, correct? Everyone, will it have a pay rate? I think it will. It should, because you need to know. You will not apply for a job which is, let's say, $5 an hour or $10 an hour. You'll say, minimum is $30 an hour, for example. Now, let us say in a situation there is $50 or $75 per hour from the end client. Let us say, if you go through job board and apply directly, how much will you get, team? $75. Good, great. If you go through references, how much will you get? $45, 65, 75, 30. References is friend, let's say friendly reference. Not really something. I think it's still 75. They'll not take a cut from what you get. Who will take a cut? When it comes to consulting company, what will they give you, team? $50? 45? 50 is great actually. 45 maybe. Yeah, a lot of people are saying 45. So which one do you want? 45 or 75? Needless to say, 45, right? No, you want 75. Okay, good. Now you don't want 45. No one wants 45 when we have 75 up on the table. Then why are we giving the $30? Let us assume this is the way we are going. Job boards you're applying, friendly references are there. You're doing all these things. You're okay from 75 to 45. Where is the 30 going? Can someone tell me? Where is the $30 going? So now this is the client, okay? All right. No, it's not going to the client. See, this is the problem. There is a consulting company, all right? And this person is literally pretty happy. Why? Because they have this and they have this. Is this session boring anyone? Please be honest if it is. All right. So there is a consulting company. Where is that 75? Let's talk about that number. That's an interesting number, team. So how do I? Just a text box. Okay. So here is 75. Okay. And you're getting what? 45. So where is 30 going? Who's working hard? You will work hard. Client will work hard. So why will consulting company make $30? Just for introduction, right? For how long they'll make $30? For a long time, till you keep working. Is it good? Good for the company, not good for you. Now, let me ask you this question. Very, very important question. Will you make someone work hard so that you pay them what? 40%, 75, 35, 75, 30, yeah, so let's say 40%. 40% of your earning. Will you make someone work hard, team, for it? Or do you want to give it? We give it, that's the problem. If you are working so hard for your $45, how much will someone work for 30? Maybe it's going to 10 people in a company. Maybe it's not going to a lot of people. All I'm saying is use this $30. Whose money is it? It is your money. How will you use it? They will earn money after you start work. Will anyone earn money in this if you don't start work? So everyone wants you to start working. Everyone is waiting for you for it. So who's your support? Let's say you go through the consulting company. You have the layer, which is unfortunately what it is called, in between, or the consulting company, which has to help you get placed, which means that you need to help them make money too. I'm not yet ready, team. I'm starting this week with consulting. I will go slow with one after the other. I will not announce anything. There's nothing from my side as an announcement yet. From my side, all that I have is how do we get you the offer letter? Right from job description all the way to offer letter. Are you going to be directly in contact with the customer? You will not be. There will be someone channeling, a HR, a client, a consulting company, and so on. Now, you have to ensure that the consulting company really works hard for that. Help you get placed, help them make money too. If you make them successful, most of your job is done, team. There is either this layer or you're going directly. Now, any questions about this process, please? Let's talk about QA in general. Okay, so now we've gone through this, you've gone for interview and so on. QA slash automation testing. Now, there's something very different about QA industry team. That's something we'll talk about. So you have a great friend right now. This person knows you through your resume because you applied for a job at a XYZ company. All right, and feels you're a potential candidate. So now what is your goal, team? What is your goal? We have not yet come to QA automation testing. Is your goal to start work? Is there any other goal? The only goal is to take care of everyone in that cycle. Your only goal right now is to make this person more happier. That's your primary goal. They should feel confident that you are the right candidate for this job. It will become easy. So, most importantly, make friends, or truce, is the correct word, with the contact in between. They will give you all the information. Get as much info as possible before you go for an interview. What did you think of a consultant so far, team, or a consulting company who is taking some money in between? What did you think of them? What comes to your mind first? Let me ask this poll in a poll question, and then you can answer, please. I just launched a poll, team, into your screens right now. The poll is very simple. What comes to your mind when you imagine a consulting company? A company which does body shopping. This is a multiple choice question. You can choose more than one answer, team. So even if you see the sum of these polls increasing over 100 because you have multiple options. So please take a minute and answer this. All right, great. Thank you, everyone. So we've almost completed. I'm going to close the polls and kind of share. So this is interesting. See, I've been very literal in saying this because we're talking about an entity whose job is to help you get the job. But at the same time, we have a perception that has come to us because of the fact that they started acting more lazy, more greedy, more trying to get more and more sucking into your earning. And that's all sometimes some companies think about. I need to make my $30. I don't care about you 45. I don't care about you 75. Am I making my 30 or not? Is the question. Whew, okay, now, how do I see this? 73% of you feel it's a necessity. 19% of you don't know, you're confused. Fair enough, not a problem. 8% of you only feel you're bloodsuckers, but still is a percentage. 8 is not a small percentage, right? Because we've seen a lot of companies act that way. The first and foremost thing, team, that one has to do to be able to successfully go forward is to ensure that you work closely with them. Okay, I'm going to hide this. 73% of you saying necessity is a wise thing. That is what you need to focus on. All right, everyone. I'm showing my screen right now. You have to work closely with them. I'm not saying make them work for 30. Make them happy for their 30. Why should you feel that negative about it? They are there to help. Maybe the system is that way where they're working. So do not think about a negative approach to it. Think positively. Even if it is $5 or $30, make them happy. with what they want. You earn your 45 to begin with. Will it be the same after 1 year? Now let's say this is the first year. Will it be the same after 1 year? Will you still be at 45 and 30? No. Maybe you're 55 and 20. Will it ever get to 75, 0 out here? Will it ever get there? Yes, it will. Absolutely yes. You're not bound as a laborer forever in your life. You will earn your total share. You're looking at this revenue share as a temporary solution, never a permanent thing. It is not your permanent residence, may not be a permanent job. Okay? So, what was the saying, team? Not forever. Get a start. All that we require is get a start in a project. Now, to get a start, there are two ways. One, experience. Keep working on something, and sometimes you'll have to show reference checks as well. Now, like I mentioned, I will not focus on the skill, experience, and training in this session. I'm just saying that mentally be prepared to share temporarily with someone who's helping you get to that stage. Do not think about a job which you'll do in 6 months. Think about a job which you'll do after 1 year forever. That is what a career is all about. Once you convince this person in between, they will become your salesperson. Very simple, team. Do you need really to use a real estate agent to buy a home in US? Let me ask you this question. Do you know how much money you give in real estate? How much do the brokers make? Let's say real estate. There's a property for 1 million US dollars. How much does an agent or a broker make in between? Does anyone know? 1.5% from each side. They take 3%. How much is it, team? 30,000 US dollars for selling one home. They take the commission. They take it. It's gone. Maybe not from your pocket, but it's gone from the deal. Everything is about consulting, team. Always remember that. I did start, remember, saying if you get through friendly references, great. Apply directly, great. You are the only one working in these two cases. Remember that. It is too lonely, and this puts us in a lot of pressure. It will not happen fast. By the time you realize you already crossed like 6 months, 1 year, and so on, when you keep going. Find the right consulting company, share the money temporarily. All right. Now let's talk about interview and offer letter. I also have to talk about QA automation testing. What is it specifically? I think so far everything is general. What we say is regular for any IT professional. Let's talk about interview, offer letter, and starting work very briefly because we can close this easily. We come back to QA specifically. What is the difference? Interviews to test our ability. They are to answer your questions, interviewer and interviewee. Now tell me, decision made or not made before the interview. Is the interviewer or has the interviewing panel already decided to hire you or not? Will the decision be made before an interview? Okay. No. Intent made. What is the intent made? There's no decision yet. That is why we require interview. If I like, I will hire. Is that what an interview is, team? If I like, I will hire. Now, interview can be face to face. It can be a teleconference. It can be a video conference like Skype, etc. Right? Doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Do you think you will ever get a job without even seeing the client? Yes or no? You never saw the client or the consulting company. Will you find the job? So I'm saying you haven't seen this, you haven't seen this person. Will you be able to work? Yes is the answer. It's not no. Are you all not working already on in your project team? How many of you have seen me literally or met me in person? I must have met maybe about 50 or 100 students of mine in my whole lifetime out of the thousands that have been coming, right? It is not necessary, team. So what does that mean? Most of your conversations are happening. Your biggest tools is what, team? Is your speech and your writing and your resume. That's what it is. When we say writing, I say emails. I'm not saying how good you are as a creative writer. How are you communicating? How do you speak? How strong is your resume? Now, if these things, now let me tell you, team, if your resume, let's talk about this process now. If your resume is good, you will go to the interview, correct? Maybe there are levels of interviews. If your resume is not bad, will you go for an interview? Will you get a call for an interview? Cover letters I'll talk about. Cover letters is just a hyperly used industry term. There's nothing I believe like a cover letter. What I'm saying as the writing ability is called cover letter. To write to someone as to why you think you're good for that job is a cover letter. So even before they open the resume, they'll look at a cover letter. But thank you for bringing it up, Nima. It's perfectly apt. So what was I saying, team? You may never be able to see any of them. So most of your convincing is done through telephone and your resume, team. These are your big tools. You have to be perfect in them. What do we have to be perfect, team, in your resume about? All the projects that you've worked, there is no question. Complete details about it. Now I'll ask you, team, let us assume 5 years experience. Okay. How many pages should their resume be there? What is the good benchmark? What is good benchmark? 2 to 3 pages, perfect. 4 pages little long or 5 pages long, 2 to 3 pages is apt, right? Now in this 2 to 3 pages, you have to talk about everything. How long will it take to explain about your resume? Can you tell me, team? How long will you take to explain about your 2 to 3 pages resume? How long will you take? How long will it take, team? 15 minutes, 1 hour, 5 minutes, not more than 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay. For anyone who you think can speak for less than 1 hour on your resume, you'll never get a job, team. I'm sorry. I'm very serious about it. All right. Minimum 1 hour, non-stop talk on the resume. Now, will you do this with an actual interviewer? No, it is not to do a 1 hour talk during the interview. It is to do it for a mock interview. Prepare for a mock interview where you can speak for an hour. Attend at least 10 mock interviews before you get to your first interview. Use your platform, use your network, use your circle, which you, at least most of the iTeLearn members, everyone, not most, Have a great platform. Share your resumes with each other. Be the role player. Be the consulting company. Be the client. We can do this that way, team. I am going to help you all go through it at length on how it's going to happen. I will be the consulting company, but not the blood sucking, with a clear idea of what we want to do. We will talk about it. We will take this very actively forward. Team, I believe we just had 1 hour today, but I still have a few more points to cover. Is it okay if I continue? For those of you, if it's too late or unable to, please kindly refer to the video. I need another 15-20 minutes, maybe 10 minutes to talk and another 15-20 minutes to take your questions, team. Mock interviews. Use your network. Ask everyone, please interview me. Ask your spouse, take resume, run around, team. I'm serious. Say, please interview me. Ask your 10-year-old kid to say, take my resume and interview. Ask me questions. There is no doubt you will do what you want to do. There's no doubt you will get a selection during that interview. The decision is already half made. Now, do you know that if you get a job, who all are happy, team? Do you know who all are happy when you get a job? Can you imagine? I'm not even referring to you and your family and your immediate, but also the consulting company and the dozens of people because of that income, and the client and because of what they're developing with you in there. So this is a great thing to do. Do not be bogged down if a company says, I will take 35. Sure, let them take 30, 35, whatever they want in between. But let them work for it. Let them actually help you with it. Okay? You want to give $5 or $30 does not matter. What is important for you is this 45 to get started with. Maybe it's not 45, maybe it's 30. Maybe this is 30, maybe they're taking 45. It's good not to know how much is there from the end client. It's good if you don't know this. Okay? It'll keep you relaxed. My advice is, where are we? Okay, here. Do not reject for price. If you're already in a job, let us say you're making $50 per hour, it is not wise to go for a job which will give you $45 an hour. Not wise. So don't do it. But if you're at zero, then even $10 an hour is a good job. I'm not saying no to that, team. Go for it. Do not reject for price. Do not be choosy at the beginning. You have to be ready to travel. You have to be away for 10 hours of solid work. All right, so everything is gonna happen, team. Let us assume for a minute how you feel. You're here. All right, all the way you're here. Is this a great zone to be, team? Starting work, 75, no layers, sometime down the line. Is it a great place to be, right? That is what you have to imagine. Maybe you'll be there in 1 year or 2 years. Get a start today. That is very critical. Now, 10 hours of solid work, you have to be ready. Now, what will happen if you say, I'm not ready to work hard, I'm not ready to travel, I'm not ready to compromise on the price? What will happen, team? Tell me. Your opportunities will reduce. Not a problem, but increase them with what? Have a stronger relationship with your consulting company. Have regular discussions on resume. Do more mock interviews within your network. Get more solidified on your resume in the meanwhile. Focus on this if you're not able to really get onto this. You do all of this, there's no question why you should not. You need to be able to speak and write about your career and your resume. You should be able to be prepared with having mock interviews. You should be able to compromise either on price or on location or on number of hours of work. I'm not saying let's compromise on everything. Let's pick what is easy. Always keep your mind on this. $75 an hour. It's not a bad price at all, team. $75 is a very, very good offer, correct? Now, why will someone give you an offer letter in hand during an interview? Think about it. Best scenario, right? You go to an interview, you'll say, you know what, great, thank you for your interview. Please wait outside for half an hour, we'll come back to you. They come back with an offer letter and they say, thank you, why don't you come and join us from Monday? Are you all visualizing the same thing, what I'm saying? Visualize the office, visualize the person, visualize the work, visualize where you're sitting, visualize that you've just finished an interview and you're waiting to hear back on next steps. Visualize someone walking to you, you're expecting to see that, hey, you know what, we will contact you, but they say, here's your offer letter, would you like to join on Monday? Would that be interesting? Would that be good? That's it. Let's go get that. There's nothing more. Why will someone give an offer letter in hand at that point? The sale is done before you walked in. The sale is done before you walked in. How will it be done before you walked in for an interview? How will it be done, team? The only way it will be done is if you have great relationships and the stakeholders or people in between are already aware of who's coming. They're waiting for you. They're waiting to speak to you because they've already seen your resume. There's something which is very interesting in the resume that they've spoken to about. So they're calling to discuss something specific. And at that time, all that is whatever you've spoken, written, whatever you've shown, all that is being evaluated even before you get there. That is the only way you get the confirmation in job. Oh, okay. So how do we start? You are here, it says skill training. You're preparing your resume and you've applied. You got a good consulting company which has a good connect with the HR client. They've called you. You have done your first round of telephonic and you prepared for an interview. You went to the interview, you got the offer letter and you start working. That's it. Now, all this model can happen anyway. Now, is there a possibility that this can happen? Is there a possibility that this can happen, team? From skill experience to start working, is it possible? Maybe, but maybe you'll not get 75. Maybe you'll get $15 an hour. Maybe you'll be only working 3 hours a day. It may not be complete. So let us not expect good things to be given to us as a gift. Let us be happy if we get it, but let us be prepared for the worst. What I'm showing you is the most typical scenario where you start with a lower pay and slowly grow up, but you go through every level with the proper guidance. Think of this consultant or consulting company as a branch that will help you go through this entire experience. So team, from my side, to summarize, it is very simple. If you want an offer letter in your hand during an interview, you need to ensure that the sale is done before you walked in. And the way you can do it is by branding yourself, preparing well. And I could help you in doing some of that. You also have kind of visualize exactly what is going to happen in an interview. How to crack an interview, I will not tell you exactly yet, team. I mean, there's nothing to tell. It is all about speaking correctly, passionately about who you are, about what you do. And then QA automation testing. Nothing is QA automation testing related. I think from my point, it is very simple, team. One is keywords. The second is the projects that you've worked. Third is the certifications and the trainings that you've attended. All right. Keywords are things like Selenium, things like CI, CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery, things like Jenkins or GitHub. I want your resume to be strong. How to build a strong resume is a deep exercise. I will work closely with you. What projects did you work? 1 or 3? Which is better? 3 projects. Sure. Yeah, of course, in their frameworks, then we can talk about coding or Java, we can talk about TestNG, we can talk about HP, ALM, all these things are keywords. It is like we have to do a total keyword optimization, what we call. We need to look at how much we have used what. Because the process of applying to getting shortlisted for an interview by itself is a big stage team. How do we do that? Okay, that hope happens only with a great resume. Certifications, let's say things like ISTQB or NEOT certified developer or NEOT certified tester or the certified Selenium developer training or the J, which is part of JPAC, of course. All this absolutely mention. Why? Your resume will have strength. You are starting on a good foot. When I want to go for an interview, I would want to be mentally prepared that that job is mine. It is waiting for me. It is my absolute duty to do my best and get in that position quickly. Be very focused on a team. I'm sure we will work to it. That's it. I never even prepared for this session. I never even kind of said that this is how it is. It is part of my experience that luckily I could show something like this to you on the fly. I am now ready to take questions, team. Whatever questions you have. You have 2 ways to ask your question. You can raise your hand using GoToMeeting, or you can also put it in the chat. If you're raising your hand, it means you're wanting to get unmuted to speak your question. Or you can put your question in the Q&A section. So I'm going to pause. All right, team, let's go with the Q&A. There's some very interesting questions that have come up. I'm going to take them one after the other. First question. Hi, Karthik. Many interviews will be based on Java programming, not on QA or Selenium. Perfect. Very well asked, Benya. Thank you. So here, they will wantedly break you. They will try and break you, team. Why do they want to break you? Either they don't want you in the job or they want the right one in the job, correct? What do you think is the reason? And to do this, the easiest thing is writing Java code on a piece of paper. Let me ask you one question, team. You will be able to answer. Look at this. If I write ISTQB exam tomorrow, will I clear it or not? Yes or no? Don't be nice. Don't be nice. Come on. I will definitely not clear it. I will definitely fail. I will guarantee you. Why? Because I'm not prepared for the format of that exam. I have not thought about how that exam will try and trick us into knowing the exact answers. Maybe I'm close enough. A, B, C, D, C is the correct answer. Maybe I went to B. But end of the day, it is not enough, right? You need to prepare for that specifically. It is the same for an interview. You have to prepare. How many times will we write ISTQB mock exams? ISTQB is fairly easier, but interview is a much more tougher thing. So how much should we prepare for that? I think we as humans have learned to prepare harder for our examinations than are job interviews. That is where things have got kind of messed up. So that is to answer as to Java, not on QA or Selenium. They're all talking about shift left. They're talking about SDET, software development engineer in test. So there is a lot of movement towards coding team. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Most of you are my members. I can see the names. I can figure it out. Next, can we give your name as a reference? That's a question. If you work with this in my project, definitely yes. Next question, how to select consulting firms? Interesting. I have not thought about it for today's session, Ramesh, but I will tell you the way I will look at is this chart. Now, I can look at a consulting firm which only takes 30, or I can try and look at consulting firms which don't take anything, or 20 or 10, whatever, correct? Now, what happens is we are too much about money right now, and we're not looking at how good does this consulting company have a contact with the end customer. If they do not have great contacts, then it will be tough for them to place you, whatever you pay them. So choosing the right consulting company is all about knowing who's an expert in that geography, in that technology. That is how you have to choose. I think it is not easy to say that, okay, but tomorrow I'll get to know a good consulting company. Maybe it'll take you 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 2 months to end up with the right consulting company that you're comfortable with, that you want to work along with, that is guiding you daily on what to do. Another question. Karthik, I know you're very busy, but do you have any time to talk one-on-one? Sure, I do, team. I want to keep 1 hour a day, at least to be able to talk daily on placements. I want to create more and more time for that. So a little bit of training time, little bit of placement time. That's how I want to focus. I will spend time one-on-one. I started doing interviews for the recent JPAC members. If you're somewhere in this zone, your skilled experience training is kind of going good, let's talk about it. Next question, who selects the resume? Answer is you select the resume. As to template, you're saying who shortlists the resume for the client, right? The consulting company will do. They will not send 10 consultants to the end client. For one position, they'll send 3 max and say, I think one of these 3 will definitely fit. Will iTeLearn team help to prepare resume? For JPAC members, definitely yes. Hi Karthik, is it possible for you to take mock interviews? I will not take mock interviews. I will take a real interview, team. But I will guide you, I will help you for mock interviews that we can do with our other team members, like a peer-to-peer, someone you've been working with, do mock interviews to each other. I will do real interviews, team. How to overcome the interview fear? Next question, how to overcome the interview fear? I think the best way to overcome is not to go to the interview. But that is not possible, right? So we have to face it someday. So face it. That's it. What's there to lose, team? Do you know why is it so painful to see that gap between our preparation to starting work? Because as humans, we have never accepted something called as rejections. Human tendency is not to accept rejections very easily. So we don't like to be rejected out of anything. Do you know why one of the toughest punishments is solitaire? Like, they put you in a solitaire cell, they'll not let you interact with anyone, because that's the ultimate in terms of torture that a human can face, not to be able to get accepted in somewhere. So don't take it too hard on yourself. Don't make it fearful. Make it a pleasure. Make it a process. Simple. We'll do one after the other. We'll keep going. Maybe not one interview, maybe 10 interviews. If I go for an interview tomorrow, I may not do well. If I go for an interview in a week's time with good preparation, I will surely do much better. That is what I believe. It is not what I have as a skill team. It is how I kind of showcase it to the right audience at the right time. That is what is critical. All right. So don't worry about interview fear. Interview is just one process. It's just a 30 minutes to 1 hour session where a final understanding is being arrived at. I have few more questions that I'm taking, team. Hi Karthik, I have 15 plus years experience in testing, manual QA as manager and lead in big clients. But I want to take automation position. Will you help me? Sure, that's what I do, team. First of all, training, skill improvement, project work is my specialty so far. As an IT professional, my major part of the career, I would say at least 15 years of my career I spent in total IT sales. So I know the industry and this model very, very well. I used to manage large accounts as a account a manager to a client partner. It was easy for me that way to know this model. So definitely will help you on that, Chitra. Is iTeLearn team starting a consulting firm? Good question, Sweta. Yes, we are. And the name of the firm is Varkasa. That's a company. We're going to be a software test automation company. As one of our offerings, we will also do consulting. QA on Air is the brand through which we will do it more aggressively. But it is to get there, I need to work closely with some of you. So I will be reaching out to most of you who have been on this session and will take you forward from there. How to make friends who are already working in the same field? Great question. One, I have a WhatsApp group. Okay. So let's talk about this WhatsApp group. It's all about interviews and jobs. I will try and add. I'll try and create more of these so it'll become easy. I want to go in a rhythm with all this. Let's start slow. We'll figure it out. Another question. Python based Selenium, I want to work. Sure, why not? Python, C Sharp, Java, should not matter. Programming, once you learn the concept basic, to kind of go deep and master anything is not tough. There's a question from a gentleman I believe has left. But Karthik, thanks for the information today. I want to know how you would be able to help me by providing the information. That was the question I could not answer. I wanted to know how you would be able to help me by providing the information. Cool. I think what I am trying to do is how I take you from here all the way to here. So if you look at iTeLearn, all right, I'm here right now, team. Okay. Oops. And what happened to this? Oh, I moved this. And I am connected to you because of the training, right, that we're offering. And now I'm seeing how I could also continue in the same direction all the way across. Okay. That is something I'm working on. I want your support and help also. Let's do it together. I'm pretty confident on it. 1 second. 1 second, team. I'm going to take this call quickly. Hi, Andy. I'm in a meeting. Can I call you back, please? I'm in a training. I have to call you back in 10 minutes. Sorry, team. Question will be tricky. Looks like all options are correct. Okay, I think this is a different question. Where can I find current Java Selenium questions? Is it available on iTeLearn website? Oh, good question. Are there Java Selenium interview questions available on iTeLearn website? Directly, I don't think so. But they should be there somewhere with our team members. That is something Ashna, maybe if there's anyone from the team can help me figure out. What are the other questions that I have?
Yes, Karthik.
Thank you, Ashna. There are a few more questions, team. I'm going to try and quickly cover them. as per your experience, how much chance of getting interview calls if you're inexperienced but have certification like ISTQB foundation level? So if you do not have too much of experience but you have ISTQB foundation level, because of that ISTQB foundation level, your chances have increased maybe 20%. Okay, because of lack of experience, you've not gone beyond. So your probability of applying for automation role may not happen, but for manual testers, maybe. Team, what I believe is this. This is an easy part for me, I believe. Even this is not a tough thing. We have to just do it systematically. There is no half measure to it. At least 70-80% has to match for us to start working in a job. Can I send my resume to you? Sure, absolutely. But let's go in a little bit more organized manner. I will guide you. How to contact you regarding the interviews. So what I plan to do, team, is this. Okay, this is what I plan to do. I have a WhatsApp group. I'll just talk about my plan. One, I want to start with JPAC and our CSDT members. All right. I want to prepare you from resume to job all the way. All right. Now to do this, I need you to start participating with me. Okay. We will do this as a group and one-to-one exercise. So we will meet, we will interact, we will discuss as a group, but then I will try and work with each of you one-on-one to help you through this. All right. So how I plan to execute this, I will communicate to you after this session. I mean, maybe by tomorrow. Another question. Many of us have a gap in career. That is a negative when it comes to getting to a job. Any advice on how we could stand out? First, start filling the gap. First and foremost thing. There are enough projects that we have with iTeLearn. Anyone with iTeLearn is already working on a project. You may not be making the dream money yet, but you're working on a project. So don't give a gap. That's the first thing. You cannot cover up gap easily later, team. If you currently have a project, even if you're working for 1 hour a day, be part of it for 1 hour a day actively. All right. So don't have a gap, team. If you have a gap, we'll have to work on it one-on-one. How we show that in terms of your learning potential. Because it will, what happens, team, the biggest challenge that we will face is the fact that most of the screening will happen at this end, not even at the interview. Your resume itself will get rejected and you may not get client calls. So let's look at that. Do you know good consulting company? Will you share name of the company? I know a few good consulting companies. I am talking to them. I have a good list and I'm talking to them myself and I'm gonna interact. So if I see something's relevant, I will definitely keep guiding you. How to choose a better client if we have more than one offer? Okay, I think that's a good problem to have when you have more than one offer. The easiest thing is look at it between balance between your personal and professional career. Look at the distance, look at the pay, look at the tenure, look at the technology, look at your interest, look at the comfort and how much time it's giving out of work. That's how typically any decision is made. What is the name of the company? The company name is Varkasaing. iTeLearn is the training wing of Varkasaing. Looking forward to joining your consulting. Thank you. Do you train on Python, Perl scripting, Agile, Scrum, and automation testing? A little away from the scope of today's session. What I train on, you'll find it on iTeLearn.com, please. Is it a good idea to contact consulting agent to make an appointment to see them? How do we know where to find consulting firms? Wow, that's a great question, Oledapo. Is it a good idea to contact consulting agent to make an appointment to see them? Perfectly, yes. You must. How do we find who are these companies? Go to dice.com, go to Indeed, go to LinkedIn, Career Builder. You'll find them everywhere. You just start with Google. They're everywhere. Okay. You need to explore. Call them. Find out, see your comfort level, and that is the best way to approach. Look at Suleka, look at Craigslist, look at a lot of places where they're there. Start with the LinkedIn and the job boards. That's the best place to find consulting companies. Which certification in current market is helpful? I don't know. I can't answer that. There are too many certifications. Is there a good chance to get an offer after a long career break? You don't have a good chance, team. You do not have a good chance to get an offer after a long career break. Your chances are low. That is a fact. Now we'll have to work on that. Couple more questions, and I think we're good for the day. Hi, Kartik. I've been working as a performance tester since 2011. Do you think that's a good idea to learn Selenium and go for both testing? If you're working in performance testing since 2011, keep going in that direction unless you feel Selenium will give you a bigger edge because you've got 6 years performance testing experience. If I were you, Siraj, what I would do is learn Selenium on the side for a couple of months, do a small project and start showcasing it where I'm working, and then start putting it in my resume. Last 2 questions, team. I'm not taking anything after that. Hi, Kartik. I have 11 plus years of experience in looking for a project. Will you be able to help in marketing or any suggestions? Sure, I will. That's what I'm trying to do out here. So let's talk more. Ashabai, I'm part of Live Project 2.0 model. Can I add the Just Done project as my current project? Will I get a reference from iTeLearn? You are part of the current live project. Yes, you can add it as part of your resume, the Just Done project that you're working. And yes, you can give references of Sakib and your team members for that. All right, great, phenomenal. Thank you everyone for joining. Really appreciate. It's been, is it? Yeah, it's a 90-minute session. It's much longer than what I thought. But one second, Tim. Sorry. I'm sorry. So what I was saying is I'll keep in touch with most of you and everyone. We will kind of interact. We'll send across the video also for you to watch offline. Let's start working with a proper plan. So we will reach out to you for tomorrow. There's a WhatsApp group. That's a good starting point. We'll have it sent across, a link that you can join. Thank you, everyone. I wish you all the best. As a closing note, all I want is this. I'll be working along with you. Let's work together and let's make this happen. Let's start work from tomorrow on your resume and we'll guide you from there. I'm really very proud of my team because believe me, learning and then working on the projects is not easy. You all done phenomenal work. So now let's go and get our dream jobs. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Have a great day. And we'll see you next week. Not next week. We'll see you tomorrow, most of you. Yeah. Take care all. Bye now. Thank you.